Anne B asks about addiction. What is going on with addiction? What's wrong with and what's right about typical addiction recovery programs? What advice would you offer someone who thinks they're addicted to something and doesn't want to be? This is a general public kind of someone, not someone on this list. Well, my advice is nevertheless that they read some books on the subject, including some books which are critical of addiction and which talk about things like getting off a drug. And they're welcome to read books on the other side too if they want to. I think they should read stuff including the stuff that's critical of addiction and so on. And whatever else they want as well. And I think that knowledge is the answer to this problem. They need to know more about the issues. So that would include reading some Thomas Szasz, who wrote The Myth of Mental Illness and many other books. And depending on your specific issues, you can look for one of his 35 books that seems the most relevant. And there are other authors and things as well. There's a guy called Wayne Ramsey, I think. Yeah. So if you go to wayneramsey.com, then he has a drugs page where he talks about things like how anti-depressants are brain disabling and that all psychiatric drugs in general disable normal bodily function, especially brain functioning. That's what they do. That isn't an unwanted side effect. That's actually what they do. That's how they, quote, cure people. With addiction, people have inner conflicts. They want something and they don't want it. They like something and they dislike it. And they're often dishonest with themselves about it. Gambling is a good example. There's a lot of people who don't like their lives that much and they're kind of bored. And they find gambling entertaining, and they like it, but they think they should stop gambling and it's a waste of money, and they have all kinds of problems because they don't have enough money. Genuine problems. And so they just say, oh, I'm addicted to gambling. And they're just confused about it, but it's not even like a drug addiction where there's even withdrawal symptoms to worry about. When you have there's chemical addictions where you have actual withdrawal symptoms, and so you can wean yourself off the chemical. But that's not what most of the issue with addiction is. If that's all it was, then just nicotine patches would make quitting smoking really easy. The gap between being able to quit really easily with nicotine patches and how hard it actually is shows you that most of the issue isn't the chemical dependency. Anyway, so this guy gambles, and he doesn't want to gamble, but he does want to gamble. And he doesn't actually want to think through all the issues in his life and why he's gambling. And so he's just confused about it and doesn't understand himself. And his wife complains that he gambles too much. And so he uses addiction as an excuse. She's always telling him to stop gambling, and the answer, well, I can't, I'm addicted, is a ready-made excuse which helps absolve him of responsibility and claim that it is an illness, rather than a moral decision that he is fully responsible for, and that he just doesn't respect her opinion and doesn't listen to her. And neither of them wants to face the fact that she doesn't actually have persuasive arguments that she's thought through that would actually work for his life. She's not addressing things like that he is bored, that he doesn't like his job, that he doesn't like her that much, and so on, that his life is unfulfilling. None of them want to actually talk about that. So she isn't saying, hey, stop gambling, and here's how we'll get your life in order so you can be happy. Here's what we're going to do instead that you will actually like better than gambling. And actually facing all the demons in his life and offering solutions that would work better for him. If she doesn't want to actually think about those things and face them, then of course she can't get him to stop gambling. I mean, she can pressure him a lot, and sometimes it works. He might find that the ways she's being a bitch to him over the gambling are not worth it, and then he might quit. But, you're not going to get some good solutions without actually talking about your lives and what the fuck is going on there. But anyways, just read about it. Read books about it that are from both sides of the aisle, read Saws, read Peter Bregan, read Wayne Ramsey. Saws is SZASZ.com, or you can put his name on Amazon and do a search. Wayne Ramsey is WAYNE and then RAMSAY.com. Peter Bregan is, PETER, and then Bregan is BREGGIN. He has some books. He probably has a website you can Google. There's a few others, but that's enough to get started, and you could look for a bit more. And then the other thing I would recommend, hopefully, is if someone is actually willing to discuss stuff before rejecting it, and have actual FI discussions and paths forward and stuff, that would be great. Don't just read Saws and go, it seems wrong to me, and leave it at that. Or talk about it with 3 of your buddies who don't know anything about it either, and say, it seemed wrong to all of us, it's definitely wrong. If you're willing to actually try to have rational discussion and put your reasoning into more well-formulated words for why it seems wrong to you, and try to discuss that and learn to think about things more clearly, that would be good. But even if you're not willing to do that, reading some books about it is still worthwhile. It's still worth a try. Maybe you'll learn something. Maybe if you read what Saws thinks, you'll find it makes more sense than some of the people he disagrees with. That might happen. That might be your first impression. So at least give it a shot.